Kevin Schofield is with us. Kevin, of course, is the political editor of Huffpost UK. Good to see you again, Kevin.
Nice to see you.
Fresh from the holiday. This is like that point when it's sort of back to school time.
I know. I used to hate that.
Did you? Yeah. After the summer holidays.
That was the worst. That was the worst.
Was it always muddier then? It just felt like
in Scotland it was.
It's always muddy in Scotland. Yeah. Well, it depends where you are. Yeah, it was a very defined moment of the year, isn't it? And it's always, also, give it 3 weeks, you'll walk into Tesco and you'll see your first chocolate Santa.
Oh, do you not? Yeah, you're right, actually. Well, it'll be the Halloween ones first, because there's a lot of Halloween.
Yeah, I went into, what's it called, The Range. You ever been in a range?
Yeah, I know, yes.
I thought it was home base around my neck of the woods. Home base had gone, it disappeared.
Yeah, that's right.
And I walked in, it was like walking into a kind of Halloween...
Oh,
I thought someone was going to charge me to go in. It was like that. It was like a ride at a fairground. There's ghosts and all sorts of things squealing at me, Kevin.
Oh, my youngest is obsessed with it.
They love it.
She starts talking about February, what she's going to wear.
It's up there with Christmas, isn't it?
Oh, I get so excited about it. Yeah. The sweets, I guess.
It's the sweets.
And dressing up. They get to dress up and eat lots of sweets.
They love the dressing up. This year, my youngest, Ghostbusters, has got into that for some reason, which I quite like.
Yeah, great. That's quite retro, isn't it?
It's a bit retro, yeah. I've got to find a Hoover that he can stick on his back in time for the 31st. Anyway, welcome back. Good to have you back with us, Kevin. Of course, Parliament is still in recess.
It is.
But
one more week.
Political journalists are not in recess.
You never sleep.
You never sleep. You never stop. What is the flock over there at Westminster, or the lobby, as we call it? What are they making of Nigel Farage? Because, I mean, if nothing else, he is the gift that keeps on giving. You're never short of a headline.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to say. He's driven the political narrative all summer, which is remarkable when you consider they've only got, is it 5 MPs now, or is it back to 4 again?
It went back to 4. I
think it's up to 5 because Sarah Potchin won the by-election.
She won the by-election. There was the fellow that
James McGoldrick had to lose a bit. But anyway,
he's now been cleared of stuff, hasn't he?
What I'm trying to say, yeah, that's right. So what I'm trying to say is, for this tiny number of MPs they've got, they make a lot of noise.
An awful lot.
And they realise that in the summer, we call it the silly season. There's not a lot going on. Therefore, there's a fantastic opportunity to really set the political weather, and that's exactly what they've done. The government have been nowhere really Labour, the Tories likewise, whereas all summer really we've spoken about small boats, immigration, and of course yesterday this the plan that Nigel Farage unveiled. And we are, from a news point of view, very glad, because there's been very little else to write about.
So we're grateful to Nigel. Thank you, Nigel, for providing
between him and Donald Trump
plenty of material.
Donald Trump in America, obviously, as well. We write lots of stories. The Alaska summit with Putin. Zelensky a few days later with European leaders. All that type of stuff. That kept us going for a few days. Of course it did, So between Trump and Farage, actually, they've just about got us over over the line.
It's interesting, isn't it, watching the amount of attention that a party that only has that amount of MPs gets. Now, if, for example, the Green Party said, well, we're going to go to a big hangar in Oxford and announce our new net zero policy. I don't think we'd even be talking about it, to be honest. It might get a note in the diary column somewhere.
We wouldn't, although the one thing to look out for is next week is the result of the Green leadership campaign. Now, the reason that's interesting is because they've got a guy running, very left-wing, called Zach Polanski. And I think he's trying to...
Is he a film director?
Sounds like it. I hope he's not related.
I was about to say, that's the last thing he needs.
Exactly, but I think he's trying to fashion himself, or present himself as the sort of Farage of the left. Very populist, very good on camera, quite a good communicator. So that's one to look out for. So that might make the Greens a little bit more newsworthy than they are, which wouldn't be difficult.
I was about to say,
is
that how hard is it to make the Greens more newsworthy? They've had a succession. We still regularly have Natalie Bennett on every now and again if we want that sort of left-wing environmental voice. And now, God bless her, because she always agrees to come on, and she always gets a little bit of a roasting, and she kind of knows that's the way it works. And I don't think... I honestly think Natalie Bennett doesn't know how to do an interview now unless she's absolutely destroyed. I think she actually thinks it's part of the deal. It's like, this is the bit where I get actually annihilated. Doesn't matter where she goes. Everyone will usually throw something at her that she can't answer.
Oh my goodness. I was going to say maybe it's an opportunity for her to put forward green talking points that she wouldn't otherwise, but if she's getting slaughtered in it, may well be counterproductive. But Zach Polanski would be able to absolutely give as good as he gets. So that's one to keep an eye out for. But you're right, if it had been the Greens ordinarily yesterday in a hangar, I wouldn't have been interested.
It wouldn't have got the same. Wouldn't have got the same headlines.
Not least because Reform are so far ahead in the polls. I mean, Nigel Farage could be the next Prime Minister, so what he says matters.
I mentioned this a couple of hours ago. The YouGov poll for the Times shows Labour has slumped to a low of 20% of the polls. Farage and Reform 28%. The Tories 17%, which is almost on par with the Lib Dems at 16%.
Yeah,
I mean, this is grim stuff for the Tories, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. We'll maybe come on to it, but there's another defector from the Scottish Tories.
Yeah.
Over to Reform, and I think that is another straw in the wind, you know, that the Tories just can't get on the pitch, really. I mean, Kevin Bain not really struggling to cut through.
Yep.
I think a lot of people will...
And they did the Scottish Tories did, it was 2010, wasn't it, when they did all right? Was it 2010 or 2015?
15. It was, yeah, after the Scottish referendum, basically
That's true.
That put rocket boosters under them. Ruth Davidson was their leader.
Correct.
It was a sort of high water mark. She was a very good communicator.
She was really good.
She was great. People could relate to her, which in Scotland, as a Scottish Tory, you know, they'd been in the doldrums for such a long time.
Yeah.
But the Scottish referendum gave them relevance again. They were very pro-union. A lot of Labour voters who backed the union thought that Labour were prevaricating on it, so they voted Tory. So they got a big boost there. But that's now...
It used to be the gag, didn't it? There's more pandas in Scotland.
Which was true. Which was true at one time, yeah. There was 2 pandas and 1 Scottish Tory MP. That was literally true.
And I think it then transposed to Labour when Labour got a kicking, you know.
Right, yeah, they were back down to 1 Labour MP.
And I think the pandas are up to 3 now. Yeah. So there you go.
The pandas were raging at being compared to the Tories.
The pandas are absolutely furious. So let's move then to that story, the defection. I mean, are we going to see more of this? Because a Scottish Tory is, you know, quite a rare thing.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly less rare than it was 20 years ago, but nonetheless, it's been tough. Labour did well. SNP, you know, ever since the whole Sturgeon thing, has sort of fallen apart, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It would have been unthinkable that Reform would even... Nigel Farage could almost not go to Scotland. I mean, it was in that territory, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now he can.
Well, he literally got run out of Edinburgh really about 10 years ago, and he joked about it at his press conference in Edinburgh today about how he had ended up being not a hardship for Nigel. He was barricaded into a pub for his own safety. You couldn't make it up on the Royal Mile.
He was there for 4.5 hours apparently.
He loved it. He came out absolutely legless. Best day of his life. But no, so he was because of this baying mob of Scottish sort of left-wingers, nationalists. But now, I mean, I wouldn't say he's the most popular politician in Scotland, not by a long shot, but undoubtedly Reform are doing much better in Scotland than you'd probably have thought even this time last year. There was a by-election earlier this year, and they got, in a sort of Labour heartland, they got 25% from a standing start, which is absolutely remarkable. So they are definitely looking to make serious advances at the Scottish Parliament elections next year, largely at the expense of the Scottish Tories, which probably explains partly why this MSP Graeme Simpson has jumped ship to Reform.
What's interesting is that I mean, you could different times of the political journey over the last 50 years or whatever, where, you know, people use the phrase, you know, we've never seen anything like this, you know, seismic landslides and goodness knows what else. But we are in a really interesting time, and even on the with the sort of major parties and Reform as well in this. You've got Reform where this potential split could happen if Rupert Lowe, along with Ben Habib, form a party. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to make serious inroads, but it might scupper the odd seat here and there.
Possibly.
And then on the left, you've got the Corbyn-Sultana affair going on, and that could significantly damage Labour. That's a very serious threat to Keir Starmer.
Undoubtedly, there is definitely a group on the left who still hold Jeremy Corbyn in very high regard, don't like Keir Starmer at all, probably voted Labour, held their nose and voted Labour last year to get the Tories out, but won't do it the next time. And if they're presented with a viable alternative in Jeremy Corbyn's party, or even the Greens perhaps, or the Lib Dems in other parts of the country, then that could really damage Labour as well as them losing votes and seats to Reform, maybe in the Red Wall.
Listen, Kevin, we will speak again next. So next week, they're back next week, aren't they, Parliament?
Yes, they're back on Monday.
First PMQs next Wednesday. How's that going to pan out? You've got two sort of fairly wounded leaders.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it gets more
Maybe
interesting
they'll form
for
a
us.
coalition.
Well, their critics would say they are pretty much of a muchness these days anyway, which is why Reform are doing so well. The main time that PMQs is exciting now is when Nigel Farage has a question.
100%.
Which isn't every week, but at least then it shakes up a little
There's
bit.
a moment where they stand up and
they all shout at him.
And they all shout at him.
Which works to his advantage.
And it's house points all around for Nigel when that happens.
Absolutely.
The whole point of his shtick is to get that
the establishment's against me.
Indeed. Kevin, thank you. Kevin Schofield with us. Kevin is the political editor of Huffpost UK.